What is hill climb and why is it so wickedly fast?
Oh, here we go.
So the first hill climb ever was the Simola Welsh in 1905 in UK, and it's also the oldest event. And then after that, Pikes International Hill Climb, which is also now I think 100 years old, one of the biggest hill climbs ever. It goes all the way from low point to high point of the mountain is about 20 kilometers, which is quite far from low to high. They normally say chasing the clouds, because you go from the low side where there is actually still trees growing to as high as where the tree line actually stops, because there's not enough oxygen. A lot of the race drivers and even cars get fed extra oxygen in, so that obviously you get a bit daisy the higher you go with the altitude, and that's how thin the air is. That's also why you see the Pikes Peak cars have these huge wings, a lot of wings in front and at the back, and the engines are always normally turboed or supercharged or fed with nitrogen, and that's all because the higher you go, the thinner the air gets, so the less air you actually can compress into the engine, which if you can put in, let's say 14 liters of air, you can put 1 liter of fuel, which more fuel, more power, and equally more air, more power, more fuel. So that's quite important. That's why they normally put big giant turbos on it, or even the old days they used to put 2 engines on the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. The Suzuki had a twin engine front and back turbo engine. I think even VW made a Golf which has a front and mid engine, rear engine. So very interesting. And the Pikes Peak back in the days was actually gravel road, which is quite crazy to see. Then you normally get the more I can say rally style cars that go up there, but obviously boosted with huge wings and stuff. Like Reese Millen, one of the main guys up there, Sebastian Loeb, and I think the title holder now is the I Volkswagen, which is actually a electric car, which makes sense. Obviously the higher you go, you don't get that air problem, although I do know that they do have battery overheating, but in a short distance like that, the engineers obviously fine-tune it. And then all the way back to Simola Hillclimb.
How many euros are we talking for something like that? Just a ballpark. 100,000 euros.
Here in South Africa, that started in 2009 at the Knysna in Knysna, and then we also have the Speed Classic. That happened last year, 2025. It came back. It used to be back in the 70s, and that's quite an interesting race as well, running through on the highways of Cape Town, on the foot of Cape Town Table Mountain.
First guy to change that.
So now that we covered the history of hill climb, what is the main thing and what is hill climb basically? So First of all, hill climb is a single challenge event. It's you, your car, and the racetrack. It's all based on time. Basically, you bring what you got, you race from the lowest point. Normally it's an uphill. It just makes it a lot more challenging than downhill being on the brakes. So it's I think it's more about power, but also power versus talent versus, how can I say, I want to say kahunas, you could say, and then ingenuity. There's almost no limits to what you can do to the car. That is what I absolutely love about the sport, is there is some crazy builds out there, especially in Europe. I think Europe is definitely the leader in the hill climb events. They have a lot smaller tracks, a lot thinner tracks, but the cars are very interesting. They tend to run smaller cars, more compact. They love the natural aspirated but also turbo, make it as light as possible, as nimble as possible, and then you get the big aero cars as well, which obviously they can't do as good in the smaller, twistier bit, but they're more the high speed things, and that's where South African hill climb comes in. Our tracks are more, I would say, bigger, because it's normally on a road, like a national road. And it's normally a double lane, so bigger cars tend to do a lot better than the smaller cars. Although, yeah, they do want to put a chicane in, but we'll talk about that at a later stage. So the main thing is, it's you versus time. The fastest you can get up the mountain is the best. So if you can build your car either nimble, light, or big powerful with big aero, that's all up to you. Eventually, once you've done that, they'll put you in a specific class, but the classes are just to categorize the certain cars. It's not to cap them or put restrictions on the cars, or any levels of, let's say, this is the size front and rear wing you're allowed to put. Like in time attack, they are set. They even the unlimited class is set with certain rules of how big your front splitter is allowed to be, how big your rear splitter is allowed to be. Where in hill climb racing, everything goes. Any ingenuity, any idea, they'll eventually put you then in a certain class, but normally that's more like a top 10 or the fastest or unlimited class. And then obviously South Africa, we love our classic cars, so they also then come in a category. I will make a separate video of all the classes and categories and where all different cars set up, production cars and all that. So yeah, eventually at the end of the day, it's about you and the track. If you can get a good start, because I think the first 400 meters or the start is like a race alone. It's almost like a drag race, where I think if you could build your car to be good all around, you'll be good in a hill climb event. Because the first 400 meters, as I say, once that flag drops, the time starts. Normally all the cars have tags on them, so they are GPS recorded, so that once the car starts to move, the time starts. So you can stand there, get your revs up, get the turbo spooling if you've got a turbo, and then, as I say, you can either save your engine, save your clutch, save your tires, and make a slow pull away. Or you can just drop the clutch and make a fast pull away and take that first 200 meters as a quarter mile. And that is the way I would do it. Maximize your time from the get-go. And then it's all about the corners from there on. how fast you can put your car in the corner, how stable it is, and then the straights as well. There is a few straights, so if you've got a nice slippery car that can just glide through the air very aerodynamically, that'll definitely improve. Where if you've got a car with big aero, that obviously will hamper you on the straights, because then you're going to have to need a lot more power to overcome the drag from the big wings. So it's definitely a balancing act. And also, as I say, it's hugely a preference thing. It's about the driver, his car, and his drive and his time. So you're kind of racing against yourself, against the track. If you can cut the corner, it's not like a racetrack where you can go around and round and say, okay, corner 3, I need to clip that apex a bit better. I need to get faster exits in corner 4. In hill climb it is like that, but you get limited runs. There's quite a few practice runs, but also the thing is during the day the track does change. The elevation changes, the heat changes. You know, it can be cold, then the track's cold. Your tires can be cold, and it can get hotter as the day progresses. So that's kind of how you have to get your mind on it. And then obviously you need to do the track over and over precisely the way you want it, and then just refine each corner and really break it down. Where I think in general circuit racing you get a bit more leniency. You can, let's say, get your average time over the whole track and that'll set it. But in hill climb, every split second, every small mistake ends up being a big mistake. Especially, for instance, in Simola Hillclimb, it's only a 1.9 kilometers, so it's quite short. And the average times of the big cars are around 39 to 40, 42 seconds. So that's a very, very small margin. So you can't really have any errors. And then yeah, that is the main thing I love about the sport is, you know, it's about driver, about the engineering of his car, his choice of car, and also the way he wants to set up the car. And then obviously track conditions, that also plays a big part in hill climb racing. Let me know down below what you like about hill climb racing. What is your favorite car of hill climb? If it's an international car, if it's a South African built car. We have some crazy cars. I think we're definitely leading the chart in the whole world when it comes to, well, we definitely have the fastest MR2 Toyota in the world. And then in the Skyline game, was technically not a Skyline, the GTR 35. There we also are running with the top guys. I think we definitely have the fastest GTRs in the world, circuit based, obviously not drag racing based. Drag racing, I think Americans definitely have that going on for us, or going on for them. But if it comes to racing, and the other thing is also a lot of these hill climb cars are spec built for hill climb. They might start off as a circuit race car, but eventually they start to get to the point where they're way too fast for the track, or they just can't do the consistent laps anymore, because so much power, especially the big guys, that they can't contain that power. It'll either smelt your tires once you go a few laps, or it'll overheat the gearbox or overheat the engine. So this one lap, one stint push is kind of, you're putting everything on the line, all your eggs in one basket, and it's just you, the track, and the time. And that is very interesting. It makes the drivers commit every single lap they have to take. They can't, obviously they do have practice runs, which they'll set up the car and try something, but I think every lap is a push lap, because you don't want to go in there, do a practice lap which you're pushing 80%, and then when you have to qualify, you're pushing your car then to the limits and new problems are starting to show. And that's kind of not the way hill climb is. It's more push, 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 and then obviously the last shootout is where you want to obviously show yourself, but it's basically just pushing all the way. And yeah, if you guys love the content, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel grow. And if you want to get merch, I'll definitely just watch out, look down. There will be a shop logo. Once I hit 500 subscribers, I definitely want to open up a website where I can start selling merch, start selling car parts and whatever, maybe even Speed and Sound magazines. If you guys want to sell through, just let me know. Get hold of me through Facebook. I am there, and then we can take it on from there. Until next time, thanks a lot first of all for all the subscribers. You guys are definitely like family, and you guys are no doubt racing. Otherwise it's just me talking to a camera and no one's watching, which I don't think that is the idea. Anyway, so yeah, just first of all, thanks a lot for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It is for free. It helps the channel grow a lot, which eventually is going to help South African motorsport grow a lot, which will help the whole world's motorsport to grow. And that is obviously something we all want. Until next time, when in doubt, go flat out. Cheers.